Century. That's by the Tragically Hip. Ah, here it is. Good, good, good. All right, here we go. First thing we'd climb a tree, and maybe then we'd talk, or sit silently and listen to our thoughts, illusions of someday, cast in a golden light, no dress rehearsal, this is our life. And that's where the hornet stung me, and I had a feverish dream with revenge and doubt. Tonight we smoke them out. You are ahead by a century. You are ahead by a century. You are ahead by a century. There in the morning shroud, and then the day began. I tilted your cloud, you tilted my hand. Rain falls in real time, and rain fell through the night. No dress rehearsal, this is our life. Well, that's when the hornet stung me, and I had a serious dream with revenge and doubt. Tonight we smoke them out. You are ahead by a century. 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 And disappointing you is getting me down. Hydrate or drive, absolutely. That is good. Dihydrogen oxide. That is very, very good. Dihydrogen oxide.
Good evening. Oh, we got a microphone. Great. We got squirrels running in a circle. All right. Good evening. Good evening. Yes. I've got a microphone. Don't have headphones yet, but I got a little speaker I can put next to my ear and check just in case. So, how's everyone this evening? You ready to go through this movie? This today is well, I'm Ron. I live in rural New Hampshire. This is Double Tribble channel on Twitch, streaming live, and tonight we're gonna go through a movie. It's Wednesday. Yeah, I gotta say what the date is, right? Wednesday, August 14th, 2024. So this movie was made almost a quarter of a century ago. So that qualifies as retro, right? I think anything over 10 years old I call retro, but everybody has different, categorization for different types of movies and all that. But this one was, this was made right before 9/11. So a lot of movies made right before 9/11 kind of got lost, in the excitement there. People were, their attention was elsewhere. So this was one of those, I think. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. What I'll do is I'll just go through the. Well, first I'll look at the Wikipedia page on it just to see what it's a little bit of background on it. And there's spoilers, by the way, spoilers, everyone. Obviously, I'm going to be talking about not just a review. I'm going to break down the whole movie and talk about all different scenes and show you tiny little clips of it and stuff like that. So spoilers. So if you haven't seen the film yet, and you don't like spoilers, then maybe pick this up on the VOD or something, because we're gonna talk about a lot of details, and this particular film does have some significant spoilers. I mean, it's a lot of stuff that you don't see coming in this film. So there's my warning, spoiler warning. I'll try to remind you again when I start getting into more of it, but. So today so far is going pretty good. I got a chance to watch some streamers. I haven't had a chance to do that as much. I was able to do that. What else? Made some nice lunch today. I've got my garden's finally getting some stuff. I'm able to pick stuff out of the garden. I had some squash that came out. Yeah, I'm here rural New Hampshire, right? So we got it. There's lots of room to do stuff. So but my garden actually is really, really teeny tiny. But I had some, I tried to plant several different. I tried to plant corn. I tried to plant sunflowers and several other things, beans and stuff. And they didn't come up. But this squash came up all by itself. A couple of them. Apparently there were seeds in my compost or something that got in there. And when they first came up, I tried to get on the weeds right away, early on. But I saw these and I said, oh, that looks like, something I can eat. So I let it grow. And it pretty much took over the whole garden just about. But I got these huge spaghetti squash out of my garden. I mean, I picked 2 of them so far. They're 4 pounds a piece. That's, what is that? That's, a little under 2 kilos, I guess. 1.5 kilos, something like that. So, yeah, really, really huge. And there's a whole bunch of them out there. There's maybe, I don't know, half a dozen or so more of them that I'm going to be able to get out of the garden if they get big enough before the first frost. I think we got a couple months yet before first frost. So anyway, yeah, a lot of stuff. So I cooked that up. I had that for lunch today. That was really good. I overcooked it a little bit, but it was still good. It still tasted good. It's free food. So. We're gonna talk about this. This mission to Mars. This was way back in 2000, right? They made this thing, and Bush was he got inaugurated before this. No, 21. Yeah, so this was the end of Clinton, and then Bush came in 21. Right, that's right. So. But so, like, right after this movie, Bush said, "Oh, I want to, we're going to go to Mars, right? Yeah, the announcement, we're going to go to Mars. And it's funny because all the presidents have said that. Remember Kennedy, right? Everybody remembers the clip of Kennedy saying, "Oh, by the end of the decade, we're going to put a man on the moon," right? And we did it, right? We got there, 69, just before the decade was out. Kennedy didn't make it, unfortunately, but we made it to the moon, and so that was kind of a, ever since then, he became part of his legacy was that he said, "Oh, we're going to make it to the moon," and going to the moon was a big thing. That's people are going to remember that for as long as there are people, probably. So, big deal. So all the other presidents, they want their legacy. So they say, "Oh, we're going to go to Mars," And so all of them have been saying we're going to Mars. So this was this was right before Bush, and Bush early in his presidency said, "Well, we're going to go to Mars." This is like quarter of a century ago, 24 years ago, and we're still we sent a spacecraft to. We have a spacecraft now, kind of halfway developed, that went to the moon, came back, looped around the moon, and came back, just to test it out. So looks like we're going, but who knows when. It always gets delayed. Why do it in a decade when you can stretch it out to 3 or 4 decades and make 10 times as much more money, right? That's kind of what we're into right now. The way society is right now, kind of pretty corrupt. So hard to get stuff done when you get society that way. But anyway, so you'll see some things in here that are, the graphics are amazing. Well, here, let me just bring up the Wikipedia page on it. If I can do that here. Let's see here. That's not it. That's kind of interesting. There we go. All right, so there's the Wikipedia page on it. I'm going to check my mic here, make sure I'm still on. Yep. Yeah, you never know. So it's this particular article. Usually they have in the different sections here. They've got the plot, the cast. Those are, but this one it doesn't have anything on development. How they talk about the script a little bit, and I didn't bother going through and. They've got quite a few references down here, and newspapers and industry rags and stuff like that. So I don't know if you wanted to look, I guess you could sort that out and find out what happened. But there's no. They talk about filming, but they don't talk about the development of the thing. Apparently, it was written. It was written by these folks. Jim and John Thomas and Graham Yost, and they had a director at the very beginning, and this Wikipedia article says that the director that they had was complaining that there wasn't enough money for the film, and so they dumped him, or he quit, or whatever. They parted ways, and and they got Brian De Palma to pick it up. So. One of the we'll get into that a little bit later, but it's got a pretty good cast. We've got Tim Robbins, Don Cheadle, Connie Nielsen, Jerry O'Connell, Kim Delaney. Who else we have in here? I don't know some of these names, but it was a pretty good cast. One of the issues that they said they had with it was the writing. So, and we'll show examples of that. The movie we had last time, I'll scoot my mic up a little bit. I hope that didn't make too much noise. One of the issues with the movies that we had, or one of the things with the movies that we had last week, which was I, Robot, was the writing. The writing was really well written. The script was really well written. And I showed you some examples of that. So this one, I'll show you some more examples. I think I have examples in here that show some issues. Well, with the dialogue and things like that. But the actors were pretty good. These are good actors. Gary Sinise, Tim Robbins, Don Cheadle. These are, Connie Nielsen. They're all pretty good, headliner type actors. So they were able to get as much as they could out of the lines, out of the material they were given. And De Palma, him and I don't know who his he has a cinematographer he works with, and he did some really great work with it. And the graphics, for 2000, this is like 24 years ago, and so you wouldn't expect that much out of the CG, but the CG is really pretty good on this movie. They spent $100 million on it, so they ended up putting out the bucks for it after all, but $100 million, that's pretty good. That's a decent sized budget, and they made, box office is 111, so I'm sure over the years they've made their money back on the thing, I'm sure. But so so the film's about the first crewed mission to Mars, right? We've sent a bunch of unmanned missions to Mars forever and ever. We've been doing that. So this is the first time of sending astronauts to Mars. And I'm sure when this movie was done, they would have expected it to be done by now. I don't remember seeing anywhere in the film any specific dates given. But just judging by some of the technology and stuff like that in the film, I'm guessing that they thought it would have taken place by now. Oh, here it is right here. In 2020. Okay, so I don't know where they got 2020 from. We'll see. The Mars mission launches for planet Mars, commanded by Luke Graham. Okay, and then it goes into the whole plot of the thing. Spoilers, by the way, if you're just joining us. There's spoilers. There are going to be spoilers. So, they got the plot here. Actors filming. I talked about the special effects. It says 400 technicians were directly involved in the production aspects of the special effects. The props were top-notch sets. The whole thing. It was really, really, really well done. Soundtrack, I guess. And then the critics panned it for some reason. The industry, for whatever reason, the industry didn't like this movie. Fans love it. It's a great movie, for the most part. And like Rotten Tomatoes gives it a low score. I think they're pretty much, that's pretty much industry insiders on that thing. That's my opinion anyway. All right, let's get into some clips here. Let me see if I can bring that up now that I've fiddled around with this. Okay, yep, I'm going to have to change something here. Change this around. Okay, there we go. All right, let me bring that up. Can you see that? Okay, good. So I can see what's going on here. There we go. Alrighty. Spoilers. It says spoilers. Yes, there will be spoilers. So this is the opening shot of the thing. They show this opening shot. I mean, they start with kind of a blue sky, and they put up some credits, and then they show this. I guess I can get this. Back this up a little bit. There we go. So it's the title of Mission to Mars. They show a rocket going up, and then it turns out it's a toy rocket. Right? It looks like a real rocket, but it turns into a toy rocket, and then they pan down here and go into this big, what they call it is a long take. Not a long shot, a long take. Where in film, when they do normally when you're doing a movie, you show a shot, a continuous shot, and it'll cut to something else, and it'll cut to something else, and that's how the whole movie progresses. But when they have a shot that lasts an extraordinarily long time, then they call it a long take. And that's what this is. And they're hard to do. They're really hard to do because you got to get this one has kids. Look at, they got kids in it. They've got, I don't know if you can hear this. Let's see. Yeah, we got.
As soon as he completes his fuel intake.
Thanks, darling. There you go.
So we get, so you start out, you know, anytime you have kids in there, and then they got all kinds of props and just a whole bunch of stuff going on. The rocket, of course, was, you know, that was sliced in. It looks like a continuous scene. You time it out, it's almost 3 minutes long, but the actual part that they had to shoot was a little over 2 minutes, which is still a really long time for a shot. And so this is one of the astronauts, and he's trying to get the women to go to bed with him, and you know that they in this establishing shot, one of the things they want to do, what they're trying to do, is to, you know, give up a lot of they introduce almost every character in this shot. I mean, it's amazing. They introduce the characters. They talk about what's going on, right? It's a mission to Mars, and you know, this is one of the astronauts, and he wants to try to get laid before he goes to Mars, I guess, with these women. They show him a couple times with one, and then let's see what else we got. Yeah, there's Tim Robbins. So this guy's an astronaut too, I think. He's one of them that gets killed right away. But they're doing a barbecue, which is kind of weird. And here's this scene right here. There's a gender issue with the film, and as you know, quarter century ago, right? There's going to be some of that in here. But they're talking about. Let me see if I'll just play it here. I can play a little bit here.
These guys are foreigners. We crush you.
No, because we have equal crews. We have 3 men, 1 woman, same handicap.
Easy now, that's my wife you're talking about. Terry just happens to be one hell of a shortstop.
Fast pitch now steals batter, calls his own strikes. $1,000 make it interesting?
Oh, we don't take all.
Good. You bring the boss.
Yeah, the best thing about our mission, on Mars 2, technically I outrank her, so for the first time in our marriage, she's gonna have to do everything I say. Right, honey?
Yes, honey.
Yes, honey. Sir, a little salute. Helps.
Yes, honey. Sir.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, she wasn't too excited about that. I don't know if that was the actress or whatever, or if that was part of her character or what. But yeah, they had a gender thing going on there, right? So it was, and throughout the movie, right, the top actors in the film are men, top 3, you know, in terms of billing and all that, and number of scenes, and so this, although what Tim Robbins was saying was that, you know, he was kind of saying that she was dominant in the marriage, and then, you know, I don't. It didn't come off very well. Anyway, but you know, 25 years ago, that's the way it was, kind of. And also throughout the movie, the men are depicted as, you know, the ones who were doing the mission, right? Mostly the ones who are performing the mission, and they get more face time and everything else. And the women, most of the shots of the women I noticed were in a position where they were with the men, you know, some sort of relations with the men, rather, you know, not their own characters, you know. They were depicted as usually in a romantic situation or a sexual situation or something like that, where they're you know, playing or, you know, almost used as props sometimes, you know, for the men. So it's not that bad, but it's I've seen much worse, right? But it's just an issue with the film, so you got to know about it. All right, let's go to this one here. This I thought was kind of interesting. Of course, they knew electric cars were going to come eventually, and so they show an electric car here. I thought that was kind of cool.
Well, we were
away for your barbecue. After that,
Yeah.
I was helpless.
All the way out in Galveston.
Something like that.
Mm.
It's his night, Deb. I didn't want to spoil it.
Spoiler, he has been going crazy looking for you.
Don't ever do that to me again.
All right, so
How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good.
so Gary Sinise, he comes up in the electric car, and then a little bit later on, Robbins, he comes up in this one, and we'll play that, and you hear how it's the difference is.
I think it's about time you donated this baby to the museum.
Internal combustion, boys, accept no substitutes. Jim, listen. If there's anything Terry and I can do,
I'm
call us,
okay.
all right?
I'm okay. Really. Thanks.
Luke.
Okay, so you notice that, okay, couple things there. He drives up in a gasoline car, right? And you can tell right away that there's kind of a little friction there, and that's going on right now, right? So this is pretty good foresight here on the writers to figure out that, yeah, there's going to be some conflict there. When electric cars come, there are going to be people who say, I want my electric car, blah, I'll never drive it, or I have my gas car, I'll never give up my gas car, blah, blah, blah. And that's kind of what Robbins is doing there, kind of in a joking way. And the other ones are calling it a museum piece, and, so that was kind of, because there were no electric cars, of course, back, not any in, real production or anything like that in the year 2000 when this was done. And it wasn't until, I don't know, several years later that I think it was the Prius, was it the first one that came out? Or no, the Leaf. Yeah, I don't know. My car, mine's 2014, and it was one of the early electric cars. The first model year of the car I have was 2012. So yeah, this was before they were really out there and people were talking about it. And then the other thing on this little scene here was he is giving Robin's character is giving Gary Sinise's character condolences there, but there was no. The audience doesn't know at this point why. Why is he giving him condolences? He's giving him condolences, and they don't really know why. And then, a little bit later on, they kind of, which is kind of good. At the beginning, rather than just blurt it out there and just give, have a narrator say it or give all this exposition all at one time, they kind of get it slowly, give clues as to what's going on with Gary Sinise, right? So at the very beginning here, we know, okay, something's going on. There's some condolences going on. We don't know why. And a little bit after this, then they talk about him not being able to go on the flight. He was scheduled to go with the first crew to go to Mars. For whatever reason, they don't say why in the beginning. He's not going. So are the condolences because he's not able to go on the trip, or what? Why is it that he was doing that? It didn't sound that way, right? It sounded like there was something else going on. And then later on, we find out that his wife had died. So he was, grieving his wife's death, and she had cancer. So apparently it was, a process there. So he wasn't able to go on the first crewed mission. So let me skip ahead here a little bit. Let me see if there's anything else here.
Yeah.
I'll see you when I get to Mars. Listen, don't
give me
solve all
more
the mysteries
clues.
of the universe, all right? Leave a little something for the next guy.
I'm not promising anything. You just bring some expensive beer.
All right. Will do. Godspeed.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay. All right. So Don Cheadle is going on the first mission. See, he's on the first mission here. This is when they go to. This is when they're actually. Well, here, I'll just play it.
South.
Impossible. You can't have ice at this latitude. I mean, not unless there's like a... Okay, how far away is that?
16 kilometers northeast. Take us 20 minutes to get there, Chief.
Okay, we're gonna send a packet to Micker and we're going out there. Keep working.
Okay.
Okay, there you go. There's a there's a big space station that looks like a 1950s style. I don't know. To me, I don't know. If they're going to do artificial gravity, I don't know how they're going to do it other than to do that, I suppose. So they fight. So this is the first crew, right? There are 4 of them there. And they discover that there's ice somewhere where there shouldn't be, so they go down and they investigate it. And they get down there and they find, let's see here. Let me see if I can find. Okay, so they find this mountain. That's right. They don't know exactly what it is. That's what's kind of cool about this film, is that it kind of slowly, the plot slowly develops. It slowly introduces more things, and the viewer has to, wonder what's going on, what's going to happen next, and all that kind of stuff. So that makes it kind of interesting. Makes it a good film that way. So let me play this clip. Yeah, so they found this mountain or whatever that it had something on it, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. They hit it with radar and stuff, trying to figure it out. And apparently, when they hit it with radar, it causes something inside to happen. So here's what happens when it starts happening. This is all CG, and this is pretty good CG, I think, for 25 years ago. Now what's interesting here? Okay, this is kind of a weird shot. This is that cinematography I was talking about. Pans and camera movements and unusual things, going on. So cinematography was pretty good. So here's this mountain that just suddenly, they're on Mars, they don't know what's going on, and all of a sudden this, wavy things, and the mountain starts, and they're just standing there, and they're right next to it. Like, what are you doing, guys? You should be. Look at this. This is all happening right in front of them, and they're just look at that, and they're just standing there taking pictures. Oh, look at this. So that was kind of wrong. They should have reacted, and they should have started running or something. So anyway, this just goes on and on. Yeah, so Don Cheadle's further away from all of it. Those 2 guys are right there, and the woman I think is pretty close to the action there too. So, so it just this monster comes out and he just eats it. So, and their reactions are just not. I didn't, if you saw something, this is kind of unexpected, right? If you saw this, wouldn't you be in shock or running away or something? So that was a little direction issue there, I think. But anyway, so this big monster eats him up, and Don Cheadle is the only one who survives. And they don't know that. They don't know what's going on. When as soon as this thing started coming out and sending out, it cut off all communication, right? So the people on Earth and everything, they don't know what's going on. They just know something happened, and they assume that everybody was killed at some point. Let me go to. So yeah, okay. So they're trying to figure it out and all that kind of stuff. And this is something I thought was kind of interesting. I mean, this is a pretty good. set up here, right? This looks kind of like a control room or something. They did a pretty good job here. A lot of detail, you know. They really got it right. There's one problem here. See if you can notice this.
Right, the resupply module checked out fine. No instrument failures, orbit holding steady, but there was something else. Remo's computer contained an uplink message. Very faint, highly distorted transmission from Mars 1 base camp.
Someone's alive.
Yes. Put up the message. Still concentrating on the audio, but we've got a long way to go. Show us what that might have got. Show us.
Okay, whoops. All right, let me bring that back up again.
Audio, but we've got a long way to go.
So we've got, this is supposed to be way in the future, and it's green type, a green screen, a green type. You know, when my first computer that I ever got, it was back in the 70s. This is the kind of screen that they supplied with computers back in the late 70s. It was a green phosphor CRT screen. So I thought that was kind of funny. I mean, you know, most people aren't going to notice that probably, but I saw it and I said, wait, you know, what's going, you know, and they just didn't think of it. Most of the stuff though, they got pretty well, you know, they got the technicals down pretty good. They obviously had somebody on you know, advising them and stuff like that. They didn't make a whole lot of the type of typical mistakes that you see in a Hollywood film. So, I mean, the monster, right? That's not very realistic, but you know, you always have to suspend disbelief, right, in a movie. So that's just that comes with the territory with a Hollywood movie. All right, so they're thinking, okay, we got to do a recovery mission here. They figure out that there's something catastrophic that happened down there, and so they want to do a recovery mission. So they send the 4 more people, 4 more astronauts, and this time it's Robbins and his wife or his character's wife and Sinise. Who was it? Who was the 4th one? Wait, we'll see. So they send their crew. So this is the spaceship that's going now. This is kind of interesting because they're trying to do. It looks like they're trying to do a gravity here on with just a small rotating thing, and I don't think that would work. I think that would just make everybody barf. I think it would make all the astronauts throw up or something. That's not big enough, I don't think, for artificial gravity. But maybe they did it just to grow plants. I don't know. You know. But this is not too bad. You know, this. You know, the detail here is really good. And I don't know if this is CG or a model that they're doing here. I think this is CG. So. Let's see if they show the. Yeah, see, look at that. Look at that detail there. That's really good. So, let's see. Do they go inside? Yeah, they go inside. And this shot, look at this. I mean, you know, they really long shot, and they pull in, going through the window, and you know, that's pretty interesting. Oh, so this guy here, he's got. Yeah, Jerry O'Connell, right? He's the 4th one. So he's taking M&Ms or something and making a little DNA model floating in air. You know, 0G. Just I don't think you could do that very well in 0G. I think stuff kind of drifts around. It'd be really difficult to do that. I'm not sure if that's possible or not. But you know, and then Sinise comes in there and he messes it up, right? O'Connell's all happy. O'Connell's character's all happy about doing this thing, and then Gary Sinise just kind of goes in. And let's see if he's going to do it here. Boom.
Hey.
All right. So this scene was not about. I mean, there's a little bit of, you know, they're always trying to do character development, right? But the whole point of this thing with the model DNA thing was foreshadowing, and they actually flash back to this for some reason. I guess in case the audience forgot or something, I don't know. But this is just foreshadowing. A big part of the plot of this whole thing is DNA. So that's what that scene was about. Mostly. Okay, and here's a scene. The purpose of this scene. Well, I'll play it, and then a little bit of it, and then I'll explain it. All right, so you get the husband and wife on the astronauts on this thing, and again, this is, there weren't a lot of shots with the women doing the work or doing important stuff. This whole scene here is about her being his wife. You know what I mean? It's not gender-wise. It's not. It's biased or whatever, it's old thinking. But so that's the issue with it. But what it's doing here, the purpose of putting this in the film, was to kind of build up this relationship between Robbins and his wife. What are the character names here? Let me get the character names here, so I can say those, because I don't remember names very well. I'm just not good at that, Okay, so Tim Sinise is Jim. Tim Robbins is Woody Blake. Connie Nielsen is Terry Fisher, which is his wife. So she kept her she didn't take his name, which was okay. That's pretty good. At least they did that. So it's the relationship between Woody, which is Tim Robbins, and Terry, which is Connie Nielsen, and the reason why they wanted to develop the relationship between them as a loving relationship, so that when he dies tragically, it's a big deal, right? It's a big emotional thing, and everybody's all upset, blah blah blah. So that's kind of what this was, and they do this several times where they try to show that they have a really nice relationship and all this. And the reason why they cut Gary Sinise into this scene, of course, is because he lost his wife. So it's like, okay, he's smiling because they're really happy, and he's probably remembering his wife and missing his wife, and so there's a lot going on there. It's which is, they did a pretty good job there. Except for the thing about the women. They didn't treat women very well in the movie overall. So here's more on Gary Sinise. Now he's, let's see what's going on here. Oh, there's some point in the film where they wanted, instead of doing a flashback, they're slowly saying what happened to his situation, And this is his wife. These are videos of his wife who died of cancer. And so they're showing him watching these videos rather than do a flashback or whatever. So he's watching that. So that's films today, they don't care anymore about keeping a linear timeline anymore. They bounce around and do all kinds of stuff. And this one, apparently they thought the audience couldn't handle that or whatever. It's a big, it's a mainstream, tentpole they're doing here. So they didn't even want to risk a flashback apparently, or a dream sequence or anything. They just did video, found footage or whatever. And I don't know. So that's what was going on there. I thought that was kind of interesting. Now this was. Okay, there's a content warning. There's some blood here, so Just to let you know, there's some blood that happens in the scene. So they're these two. This is right. This is the recovery mission, right? That's what are their names again? Oh, damn it! It doesn't matter, right? So these guys, they're looking at a screen here, trying to do something, and watch what happens here. This is, if you saw the movie, you know what's coming. So.
Station.
Transferred. Awaiting track confirmation.
Micrometeoroids.
All right, so he figured out right away what it was. The audience didn't know. I didn't know when that happened. But it just went right through the ship and went right through his hand, and and so they had a bunch of meteoroids, and he used the proper term too. I don't even use the proper term when I'm talking about it. I just found out about that not too long ago. That you got to call it when it's up in space. It's called a meteoroid, and he called it a micrometeoroid, meaning that they were small. And then when the meteoroid falls into the atmosphere, it's called a meteor. What we see up in this, we just had a meteor shower here last few days. I finally got to go out last night and watch and see it. We had clouds here, so I wasn't able to see it, but I went out last night, and there was the tail end of it, and I saw one that was almost a boloid. It was a really nice, big one, with a tail and sparkles that stayed for a second or so. Anyway, what we see up in the sky, those lights, the falling stars, are meteors. We call those meteors. And then if they make it down to the ground, they're called meteorites. So there's three different terms. When they're in space, they're meteoroids. When they're falling through the atmosphere, they're meteors. And when they're on the ground here on Earth, they're meteorites. And they got the name right. They called it a micrometeoroid. Micrometeoroid. So that was good. And most of the technicals they got right on this thing. Except the monster, of course. That was kind of, I don't know. I suppose maybe that's possible. I don't know. Probably not. So anyway, they end up, this is a big long sequence here. Where they follow the blood to see where the hole is, and it's a big long scene here, which most viewers today probably would think went on way too long. And I noticed a few spots in this film where they borrowed from 2001. I mean, everybody, right, borrows from 2001. But this kind of long, drawn-out thing, there's a scene in 2001 which is very similar to this, and they do an EVA here, the guy goes outside the spaceship, and anyway, they get it repaired. But it's a huge, long sequence here, which a lot of viewers might think that might be too long. The pace might be too slow, especially when it's kind of weird, because you would think that they're doing ordinary stuff, and then all of a sudden this disaster kind of almost hits. Normally when you do that, it's quick cuts, and they really try to speed up the pace. But this was kind of drawn out. It was weird. I mean, it wasn't. It's kind of a taste thing, if you like it or not. But anyway, they get it repaired. Somebody has to. I think it's O'Connell goes out on an EVA, and they look. Here they mentioned Jim's helmet, which I thought was kind of interesting. They show Jim's helmet with the blood around it and stuff like that. And later on, of course, when he dies, it's a very dramatic thing. He takes his helmet off and stuff. It's very dramatic. So this is kind of a foreshadowing thing too, really. There's Jim's helmet, right? Why, So I thought that was kind of cool. So they do that. They put these little things in this movie. It's really the only thing that's kind of screwed up on this is the dialogue. They didn't get the. They could have maybe given the script to another another writer to go through the dialogue and just get it a little tuned up a little bit better. But it's still a great movie. All right, and then here's the so after the meteorites hit the ship. Apparently there's some damage they didn't know about, and so when they try to do their retro rockets or whatever to go into Mars, this is what happens here.
What? Let's go to Mars.
Jesus! Attitude incorrect.
Shut down the engines.
Attitude
Engines
incorrect.
negative. No response. I have got no attitude control.
Manual separation. Blow the...
All right, so they got a problem, right? Turns out they end up having to abandon ship, basically. They didn't have much of a choice. They know there's like a cargo ship, a supply ship that's not really meant for people. That's on its way to Mars that they know about, and it just happens to be close enough. So they say, "Oh, let's go over there." So they all get out in their spacesuits and make a little train of the four of them, scooting across space trying to get to this supply ship, because their ship is not gonna make it for them anymore. So they get out there and they got close to the supply ship, and so Tim Robbins decides to shoot himself or fly or whatever with a rope tied to him or something to the supply ship and try to catch this, grab the supply ship and hook the cable to the supply ship so the rest of them can make it to the supply ship. And he ends up not being able to grab onto the supply. It's weird. He's able to hook the cable to the supply ship, but he wasn't able to hold on himself, which is stupid, right? That's pretty unlikely, but that's what they did. And so he kept flying on past the supply ship towards Mars's atmosphere. So he's heading down towards Mars's atmosphere, and this is how they show, that everybody's worried. Oh no, we gotta rescue him, and so he's looking in a mirror on his sleeve. Okay, so he looked in his mirror. He saw that there's some debris that's burning up in the atmosphere. He's getting close to the atmosphere. So that was kind of a cool way for them to, rather than just say, "Oh, I'm going to hit the atmosphere. You got so many seconds before you hit the atmosphere" or something like that. They visually showed it, which is good. You're supposed to do that in a movie. You're supposed to show me, don't tell me. That's how it's supposed to go. And his wife is all upset that he's out there, possibly falling in and burning up in the atmosphere. So she's worried about it, and so she tries to rescue him. She wasn't supposed to. Let me see that. I'm not sure what they got here. So yeah, she buckles and she
right.
tries to rescue him.
It's open.
Against the advice of her fellow astronauts. Right?
Terry, no!
Terry,
No,
you'll never
Right.
make it.
So basically, she gets down here. She's not able to get to him, and this whole thing is she floats out there. Let me see if she floats out to the and her little arm band says, "Oh, you're past the point of no return," or whatever. It's somehow her little computer on her jetpack tells her that she doesn't have enough to make it there and back, which is, you're floating through space, right? It doesn't matter if you go this far or this far. You can still make it back, right? It's the same. It might take a little longer, but it takes the same amount of fuel to stop and turn around and come back. It doesn't matter how far you go, right? It's not like you're burning fuel all the way down, and this is something Hollywood messes up all the time. When you're in space, you burn for a certain amount of time, get to speed, and then you shut off the engine and you coast. And even if you're in an EVA suit, same thing. She burns a little bit of fuel, and then she coasts until she gets to where she needs to be, and then maybe burns more fuel to stop and come back. Right? That's so it's stupid that she could only make it part way, and then she makes it part way. Let me see if they show that here. She yeah. See her suit there. Point of no return. 51%. Nah, that's not. That's wrong. All right, that's so. She. All right, so she stops, right? Look at this little ad here, compact. Isn't that kind of funny? That's kind of funny. They probably paid for that. I'm sure they did. So she stops short of going all the way to where her husband is, and she says, "No, I'm not giving up." And she, let's see if they show that here. Yeah, she stops and she, oh no.
The hell I do.
Yeah, she says, "No, I'm not giving up." And so she fires the little thing to him, and this is kind of cool because so there's this is good because it's, you know, the audience says, "Oh no, she didn't make it," and then she says, "No, I'm gonna make it," and she uses the gun. And Tim Robbins, right? He's a big actor, right? The audience would not think that they'd kill him off at this point. So it was really a spoilers. See, spoilers. He died. It's unusual that they would have a big name actor like that they would kill off in the middle of the movie. So this was really a surprise. So she gets there, and it looks like she's not going to get him, and then she whips out the little cable gun there and shoots it to her. So the audience is going, okay, they're going to rescue him, blah blah blah, and then this is what happens, right? Here comes a. Oh, see, it's too short. And she says, "Oh, I'm going to move a little bit closer and try again," and also because she had this gun, right? So there's no way that her computer knew about the gun, and even if the rest of it was right, she could have gone, she could have gone all the way to him first of all, or she could have got within range and used the gun to get him and reel him in, or they would have reeled in together like this, right? It wouldn't have. Both of them would have moved together, so she still would have been a little bit further away. But then she could have headed back to the ship and used the gun to reach the rest of the way to the ship. Even if physics worked that way, which they don't. So the whole thing is just, all right, it's just a way to kill him off in a dramatic way, I think. And so he ends up taking his. I'm not going to show that. It's kind of gross. He takes off his space helmet and basically commits suicide. Right? She says she wants to come and get him, and he's thinking, no, if she comes down here, she's going to die too, and they'll both end up burning up in the atmosphere. So to stop her from doing that, he takes his helmet off and commits suicide. So she knows, all right, it's over, right? And she goes back to the spaceship, and it's real dramatic. It's a big dramatic scene here, and then those scenes that I showed you earlier, where they were showing the development, their relationship and stuff like that. It kind of all of that is leading up to this point. So we got some chatters here. Cool. Hi, Chan. How are you? How you doing? Yeah, you made it. Good. I'm glad you could make it. Yeah, we're doing a review here. I'm streaming live on Twitch right now. For those of you who are watching, I put my VODs on YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube, this is a live stream on Twitch, and we have chatters who can type in to Twitch. And Chan the Magic Man is a streamer on Twitch, and he's got a really cool stream. So everybody check him out. Oh, let me do my shout out feature. I have a shout out feature on here. see here. Just subbed. You subbed. How can you sub? I'm not. There we go. Shout out to Chan the Magic Man. We're over at last scene. Just wait. I'm trying to read my chat here. I'm sorry. Follow Chan. Oh, okay. That was my shout out. Okay, that was my own bot. Okay. I'm kind of new at this. I'm less than a month into the streaming thing, so I'm trying to work out the technicals and all this kind of stuff. To your YouTube channel, yes, yeah, to my YouTube channel. They're a little, they're kind of, they don't allow as much over there on YouTube as they do on Twitch. I guess because it's mostly VODs, mostly just recorded video over there, rather than live. Twitch is mostly live, and YouTube is mostly recorded content. So, so I got one video over there that they're complaining about, but we'll work it out. Chan the Magic Man, cool. Hey, you know what, Chan? I did a magic trick on one of my streams. I forgot to tell you that. It was kind of subtle. I don't think anybody noticed it, but I did one. You might want to check that out. It's kind of funny. What? Yeah, I did a magic trick. Which one was it? 731, I think. It's the one on where I talked about the Supreme Court, something that was going on the Supreme Court. Yeah, for those of you who are new and not familiar with my channel, I do all kinds of stuff. I do mostly science and technology and sci-fi and stuff like that, but I also do civics and a few IRL and a few other things too. So yeah, I think it was 731, but I'm not sure if that's the right date or not. But it's the one that's I have two of them that are labeled Supreme Court, and one of them was a mistake. I just forgot to change the title. But the first one that talks about the Supreme Court, that's the one where I did the magic trick. Yeah, it was right after you sent me those cards in the mail, and I kind of opened that and showed people and stuff like that. Anyway, you can look at it. It's I'm not sure, it wasn't very good. It wasn't a very good trick, and I don't think most people even saw it as a trick. But anyway, so thank you for coming to the stream here. Let me go on with the movie here. Let's see. So all right. So he dies, right? And everybody's all upset. And okay, here's another one here. All right, this is kind of an example. I didn't put a lot of examples of these in my little presentation here, but the dialogue on this thing is really choppy. It's not too good, and here's an example of that. I'll play it and then I'll comment on it.
Terry, is the oxygen generator okay?
Yeah. It's gonna take a while to get back to 100% capacity, though.
Okay, so they're so they get to Mars. They get to the hab or where the first crew was living, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. Right, they're investigating it, and so that was kind of like the guy saying, "Oh, the line was meant to explain to the audience, excuse me, that she was trying to get the oxygen thing working, the oxygen generator working, and more generally that they're trying to bring this hab up to operating conditions so they can live there, right? So that's what that little piece of dialogue was for, was to explain that. And I thought it was kind of clumsy the way they did it, but it wasn't that bad, I suppose. So he gets in there. Let's see here. Who is it? Yeah. Sinise's character gets in there, Jim. And so he looks around and he finds that there's an atmosphere and everything. Takes his helmet off, right? He's saying, what, why is there oxygen in here? Right, it's been over a year, and the oxygen generator isn't working. Right, that they clumsily explained a little bit earlier. So he's trying to figure this out. What's going on here? There are plants growing. There's oxygen. What's going on? And this is what happens here. I'll play this and explain it. Okay, so what's weird about this is that I think they overplayed the effect on Luke. Luke is Don Cheadle's character, the guy who survived from the original crew, and they're showing him as being crazy there, and trying to hit the guy. It's like, what, I don't think a year of isolation will do that to you, Later on, and they try to explain that, right? They try to explain it away here. I mean, it's Hollywood, right? They just wanted to have action there. They wanted to put a fight scene in or something. I don't know. Somebody who was alone for a year would not go crazy like that. They'd be, they might not be able to. They'd be like me, right? They wouldn't be able to pick up social cues very well. That's about it, Spending a year alone, somebody's not going to go wacko like that. But then they try to explain it here, just so they, in other words, they put that somebody said, I want an action fight scene here, and so it's like they wrote this whole thing around it to try to justify putting that scene in there. So here's the explanation, right? So.
Is it just me? Is he a few meal packs short of a picnic?
Long-term exposure to low gravity can have an adverse impact on the brain. Or then he could be suffering from some form of asphyxia.
Or maybe his whole crew died and he's been marooned alone on Mars for a year.
Okay, so they try to explain it, right? Yeah, Gary. I don't think that's enough. I don't think any of those are explain it. I think the explanation is that the writers, the producers wanted to put a fight scene in their movie. I think that's the explanation there. All right, so here's what they discover, right? That big mountain that turned into the monster and all that. It was covering up this face on Mars, and this whole thing about face on Mars. When what was the first one? Voyager or no? Viking? Was that the first one of the first orbiters we had and landers or whatever on Mars? They had this picture of a face on Mars. Let me see if I can find that. That would be something. That'd be interesting to put on here. Let me see here. This should just take a second, and it's kind of interesting. You'll remember what. Once I show it, you'll say, "Oh yeah, that's it. I remember that." Let me see here. Mission to Mars. There we go. Can you see that? Not too well, huh? Let me slide it over a little bit. Oh, I can't do that. There we go. Right here. Remember that picture? I don't know if you're old enough, you remember that. They discovered this. They have tons and tons and tons of pictures of rocks and mountains and stuff on Mars taken from orbit, and this particular one, just like finding the Virgin Mary in a piece of toast or something. It's one of those things, right? The human brain likes to find patterns, and so this was one that it's just a rock formation, and with a shadow, it just kind of looks like a face. And so everybody was saying, "Oh, there's old civilization on Mars, blah blah blah," And by the time this film came out, of course, they knew that wasn't true, but they wanted to put it into the movie. Maybe they thought people were still had remembered that or something. I don't know. But I thought that was kind of interesting that they kind of played on that whole thing with the Mars face on Mars BS, So anyway, so that's what they show. So right, okay, so there's a face on Mars. So right, you figure out, okay, we humans didn't build it. Why? How did that get there? Blah blah blah. Obviously aliens. Let me see if there's anything else on this scene that I wanted to. No, there's not. They just discovered that. So this is this. Don Cheadle, of course, has seen this, and he's kind of explaining to them what has happened, right? Filling them in, and he showed them that face. And here's where okay, remember the first crew went to this mountain, and when they fired their radar at it to try to figure out what was going on, that's when the mountain got mad and ate them up, right? So Don Cheadle has been on Mars for a year. He's got nothing to do. So he analyzed all the data that they got from it, and he's figured out what's going on with this thing. So here's where he explains it.
Well, to analyze it, trying different constructs, and then I thought about dimensions.
XY viewpoint.
Exactly. 3 groups equals 3 dimensions. So I assigned different graphic values to each block group and tone, and I came up with this.
All right, so there it is, DNA, right? So and what's interesting is that it wasn't just, code sequences, G's and C's and letters and all that. It's three-dimensional graphically showing a DNA molecule. You know what I mean? It's a 3D graphic, three dimensional coordinates, and he plotted it out. So I thought that was kind of interesting. There's another part here. Oh, here it is. No, this is.
DNA.
You see it?
Yeah. It's a model of DNA.
So somebody left that thing. Okay. Somebody other than human.
Wait, I'm sorry. Yeah, here it is.
That DNA looks human.
No, it's not. It's missing the last pair of chromosomes, see?
It's close.
So Gary Sinise here, Jim, just looks at this picture of DNA on the screen and says, "Oh, that looks like human." No, nobody can do that. Not even, I'm sure geneticists can't even do that, right? Just look at something and say, "Oh, that looks human." No. So that was wrong. They kind of blew that one. But anyway, they look at it. It is human, or it's human with something missing, right? And they said, let's see. He says it's a test, right? Let me play this here.
Face, it's not a signature. It's a test. It's asking us for the right answer. It wants us to put in a missing pair of chromosomes.
Why?
To prove that we're human.
Prove you're human. Where have you heard that before? Oh, yes. So next time you want to log onto your website, they're going to show you a picture of a DNA and ask you for... Okay. They're going to ask you as if they're it's hard enough now. Instead of looking at pictures, figure out which picture doesn't belong or whatever. Here's some DNA. What's missing? All right, so here's all right, another scene here. Oh wait, let me. There we go. Okay, so where are we at here? We go. Okay, so they figured out it's DNA, and there's a part of it that's missing, and they say, okay, it must be the aliens that are prove you're human, right? The aliens are saying, before we let you into our website here, prove you're a human. That's basically what's going on here. So, say, okay, so they decide to code up the missing DNA segment into signals the same way that the aliens were sending the signal, and then they want to send that through radar or microwave or whatever into the thing to prove that they're human. All right, so here's that part. Whoops.
Here we go.
Did you see that? Did you see that? Those cuts there? That's from 2001 also. Let me say that again, because that's kind of interesting. See where they show it close, and then they cut further and further away. Let me show that again here. Those quick cuts like that. Remember in 2001 when they go out to fix the antenna, right? That Hal sends the guys out to fix the antenna, and ends up killing one of the astronauts. They do that same thing. Cuts. I can't remember. It was zooming in and zooming out. And I don't remember if it was the actual scene of the astronaut or if it was a picture of Hal where they did that. But they put those cuts in there, kind of an abrupt thing. So what's interesting is that in 2001, it was like they were killing the astronauts. So maybe they put that in here to make the audience think, oh no, they're going to kill the astronauts. I'm not sure why they put that in there, but that's another one of the scenes that was borrowed from, or techniques rather, that was borrowed from 2001. So anyway, it opens a door here. Did I show that part? Let me see here. Yeah, there it is. All right, so they open. It opens, right? They prove they were human, and it let them in. So it opens the door, and it lets them into this thing, and it's all white inside. It's completely all white, and as soon as they get in through the door and they're standing there, the door closes behind them and they're stuck inside. And meanwhile, this O'Connell's character, he's back at the ship, and he was given instructions to take off if they're not back in time, right? For some reason, you got to have a deadline, right? You got to have Hollywood, right? Got to be some arbitrary deadline that they're trying to meet, to add suspense. So anyway, they're stuck inside this thing, this face, and it's all white inside. And of course, once they're inside, there's an oxygen, and they can take their helmets off. I guess so you can see their expressions better. I don't know. No, to show that it's, this whole thing was set up for people. They wanted to invite people in. The aliens did, and so they go into this thing. This is a cool sequence here. I'll play it a little bit, and then you can see. Okay, so there's this whole 3D presentation here of our solar system, right? And they put And so they show. Okay, here's they show. This is supposed to be Mars. A long time ago, they figure out, right? There's Earth back here. Can you see my little pointer here? Yeah, there's Earth. This is further out. This is Mars, but it looks a lot different because it was used to, apparently, they're saying, according to the story, that Mars used to be, a living planet. And so they show it getting hit by a asteroid or something and destroyed. So they figure out what's going on here is that the aliens are doing this big 3D presentation to explain to the humans what has happened. And then of course, they have some dialogue here that basically says the same thing over again for the audience. And this alien, this is kind of, that's... The alien looks exactly like, 20th century alien would look like, in the 20th century, what people thought, aliens looked like. And, right, so, and this is kind of funny. The alien is showing a tear. I don't know. I don't think, humans, I think, are the only animals that do that, are they? Maybe dogs, I don't know. I don't think many animals do that. So that's kind of bizarre that the alien would tear to show emotion, that the alien was sad that their planet got hit. Right. I don't think that's realistic. Well, the whole thing is right here. You got to suspend disbelief, right? So let's see what happened. What else we got here? All right. So they do. They have this little. Yeah, right there. So they're showing the. This is still the story, right? It's playing through on the. Explaining. This whole thing is a 3D video holographic whatever explainer for the humans, and so they're explaining that all these spaceships took off maybe right before the asteroid hit. And where do they go? Of course, they go 2.5 million light years away to the Andromeda Galaxy. Really? In little ships that have chemical trails, chemtrails behind them. So, yeah, this is one that they kind of screwed this up too, Hollywood. But, so that's, let's see, I don't think there's anything else here. Right, so they explained. So, right, you get it. So this whole thing is the aliens were living on Mars. Mars got hit by an asteroid, and the aliens got in spaceships and took off to another galaxy to preserve themselves. And and then also they did this. They took some of their DNA and put that on a ship and sent it to Earth. And then, so this is that. It's kind of like that what's it called? The panspermia. Is that what it's called? This is kind of like a twisted version of that. So they're saying that the Martians, there were Martians living on Mars billions of years ago, got hit by an asteroid. They took off and went to Andromeda Galaxy. But before they left, they took some of their DNA and stuck it down on Earth, and it produced the Cambrian explosion, apparently. And so they show this little sequence here, which is supposed to represent evolution or
sudden explosion of life on Earth.
They're showing. I don't know.
Multi-celled plants and animals appeared.
Two dinosaurs and
understood why or how it happened.
Pterodactyls. Mastodons. No, the dinosaurs didn't turn into mastodons. But I think this was like a literary device or something. What they're not. I don't think they're literally trying to say that each of those species turned into those species. This is kind of just their way of transitioning to show that evolution happened. And then the mastodons, of course, turned into bisons. And then humans came. So what actually happened here, this is kind of an American thing, you know, right? U.S.-centric type of thing. They're showing bisons, and so this human, right? They're showing the human killing the bison, which happened, but it wasn't the indigenous humans. The indigenous humans killed the mastodons that were here. That the mastodons went extinct because of the indigenous humans. The indigenous humans wiped them out, and then when the U.S. got, or the Americans got colonized, then it was the Europeans that came and wiped out the bisons. Just, anyway, so that's the theory, right? Is that the Martians took off to Andromeda and they left their DNA on Earth, and that's why the Cambrian explosion happened and why we evolved. And of course the aliens knew this was all going to happen, so they made this big face on Mars with this holographic projector, just so when humans came, they would see it. I don't know. Yeah, you got to suspend disbelief on this one, but it's still pretty. It's a cool movie. It's a great movie. I'm not trying to say it's a lousy movie or anything. It's a great movie. You should see it if you haven't seen it. But there are spoilers. So there we go. Spoilers. Okay, so this is O'Connell. He's back at the. It's kind of interesting that he's doing like a countdown, right? He's got a timer, a time situation here that they stuck in there to make it suspenseful, that he has to take off on a certain time. But then there's another timer too. Here, let me
Terry,
play this.
Jim, anyone ERV to Rover? Rover, this is ERV. Does anyone copy? Does anyone copy?
So I thought this was kind of cool. This was a cool little countdown. They have a binary countdown timer here, which I thought was really kind of cool. Because you don't know, the alien doesn't know what kind of, how their language would develop or anything, how human language would develop, or numbers, or anything like that. But this is kind of like a universal way to show a countdown timer, You think about it. I think... I don't know. Do you think other species would be able to figure this out? Other aliens, if you wanted to show a countdown? I think that's a cool way to do it. You can kind of figure it out watching it. That's the binary counter. And so he's...
So we read you.
Yeah, so there's a storm, and he's got, again, there's a countdown, and let's see what we also get here. This is getting towards the end here. Yeah, so there's a countdown, something kind of countdown, and what happens is Jim decides to stay because they discover there's a spaceship that's still there. Here, let me show you what that is about. So he takes this elevator. He decides to stay. Right, he doesn't. His wife is gone. He didn't have anything, go back to Earth for really. So he's gonna take this spaceship. So he goes up to this spaceship, and the spaceship takes off. Let's see here. I got that. Yeah. All right. So they take off. Oh, here we go. We got one more thing here. So meanwhile, Jim is back at the. So just O'Connell's character, Phil, I think it was, is in the human spaceship on Mars, ready to take off. He's not sure if they're going to make it back or not. And Jim, Sinise, Gary Sinise's character, decides to take an elevator up to this other spaceship in there. I don't know.
Terry.
So here, I'll play the scene. You can just watch it.
ERV, Rover. Rover, this is ERV. Do you read me?
Phil, you read? This is Luke. We're coming in. Phil.
Phil isn't here right now. He left for Earth 5 minutes ago. Please leave a message after the beep.
Okay, so he lousy line again, lousy dialogue, but you know, he was a good enough actor. He pulled it off, or you know, it's kind of funny. And then meanwhile, so Sinise is in this. He gets in the spaceship, and they have this thing where he's. You can just watch what happens here. It immobilizes him. And they get in the spaceship, and so with this, what's going on here is this. There was a proposal. I don't remember where it was or who did it or whatever, but there was a proposal that for space flights where people had to endure high G forces, that they could put them into an oxygenated liquid that would fill their lungs with the liquid, but still allow them to breathe, and then when they have the large G forces, they would be able to withstand larger G forces, which, you know, I don't think that's right. I mean, your brain, right? Your brain would hit the back of your forehead or back of your skull. So anyway, so that's a thing that they kind of put into this movie too. Was that proposal? Somebody somewhere had a proposal about that we could have humans withstand extraordinary G forces by putting them into liquid like that. And so this one they take off. He's able to breathe. And then, oh yeah, this is right. It's got to be dramatic, right? Oh, as he's taken off, he's flat. Then they do these flashbacks, right? His memories of all stuff that's happening. You know, what is it? His life's flashing before? I don't know. So they do that for a little bit, and then he takes off. So they're showing the human spaceship, right? Those three that were left, that are four now. They took off in this space capsule. Sinise's character went on the alien spaceship, which apparently leaves a chemtrail here. It's a chemically powered rocket that's going to go to Andromeda Galaxy. But this point of this was to show that spaceship was a lot faster than the human spaceship, I think, is what they were trying to show there. But they, so then they zoom in and they give their...
Have a great ride, Jim.
And that's it. And there you go. So, yeah, there are a few mistakes. It's a great movie, though. I highly recommend the movie. This happens sometimes where movies get these bad reviews for reasons other than the quality of the movie, and that's the case in this movie. And I like finding movies like that, where you got a really good movie, really well-made movie that for whatever reason got overlooked and lost or whatever. And this was one of them. First it got lost because of 9/11 happened right after the movie came out, and then and Hollywood insiders didn't like it, so they told the critics to make bad reviews and et cetera, and the distribution got screwed up and whatever. So that was the movie. That was my take on it anyway. My review and my breakdown of it. Just little things that I saw on it. But it's a good movie. I think you should watch it. I think everybody should see it. I'm sure it's out there, on the back list of the streaming sites and stuff. You can probably get it on Amazon, I bet. Maybe Tubi or something. So cool. That was a cool movie. I don't know if... let me see. I'll check something out here really quick. Okay. So I think I'm kind of getting into a thing here. Every Wednesday I'll do a a review of a film. I'd like to show whole films, but there aren't a lot of public domain and that kind of film that we can do. The only other way to do it is for me to pay like $20 or $30 or something for a license to stream a movie, which is ridiculous. I'm not going to do that. I don't have money to do that. So I'll just do reviews of films and comment on them, and just give whatever insight I have into it. And then on Saturday night, we'll do a real movie night, and I'll play a movie. I've done 2 public domain films so far. I did Voyage to the Planet of Prehistoric Women, which is in the public domain. And then what else did I do? I did Little Shop of Horrors. That's in the public domain. And I did It's a Wonderful Life. So I've done 3 of them so far. Now there's some other ones out there. Let me see here. Maybe you guys have heard of this. Star Wreck, which is apparently a parody of Star Trek. It may not be in English though, but it might be interesting to watch anyway. Or maybe somebody's done a translation of it. I'm not sure what the situation is with it. But they released it on Creative Commons, so we could play that one. It's non-commercial, but I'm not commercial at this point because I don't even have my affiliate yet, so I'm not making any money on it. So I guess we can do that. There's another one called Sanctuary, which is a short film that was released. That wouldn't fill up a whole Saturday night, but maybe I can play that at some point. Let's see. In 2005, it became the first production to sign professional union actors to Creative Commons licensing terms. Okay. So this is one of the first ones then, I guess. And anyway, there are a few of them out there that I could do on Saturday night. So maybe I'll do that. Try to get more full movies to play until I get something else figured out. So that was pretty good. How long have I been? I've been streaming for an hour and a half. So I don't have enough people to rate anybody. But I appreciate everyone coming here and everybody on the VOD. This is Twitch channel. Double Tribble is the name of the Twitch channel. My name is Ron. I live in rural New Hampshire, and I stream movie reviews. Saturday night, try to do a full movie. And then I do science and technology streams where I get into details about, different science things. I do build projects. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I've only been doing this a month. And I'm vegan. I've been vegan for over 4 decades. So anything about vegan I could tell you about just about. So I talk about that sometimes. Yeah, a lot of different things. Oh, and civics and news and that kind of stuff too. I've been doing that a few times. Try to do explainers about what's going on with the news. But I appreciate everyone coming out to the to the stream today. But that was Mission to Mars 2000. Highly recommended. If you haven't seen it already, you know how it ends. But if you don't care about spoilers, it's fun to watch anyway. I've seen it a few times, obviously. I watched it again today just so I could talk about it. And it was fun to watch, even though I was, thinking about my stream rather than just watching the film. It's still a good movie. It's a great movie. There are a lot of. I'd like to do another one on Mars. Maybe do a few. There's obviously there are a lot of movies on Mars, so I'd like to do some other ones too. There's another one called The Last Days of Mars or something like that, or Last Days on Mars, something like that, which I remember was pretty good on effects and stuff like this one. That always kind of, even even a well-written movie or whatever, you know, if they have really bad special effects and lousy props and stuff like that, that kind of ruins it for me. You know, it's hard enough to suspend disbelief if they don't even make an effort to have, you know, good props and stuff like that. But this one really they did a good job on it, as you saw. Those props were really, really well done. So, all right, appreciate everyone coming out for the stream. And my next one, I don't know what, maybe an IRL or something. I don't know what my next stream will be. Yeah, I do IRLs too. So when I do my IRLs, I don't do them like a live stream from my cell phone or anything like that. I have to, in New Hampshire here, they got lousy cell service. Half the state, you can't even get a signal. So I can't really do IRL streams too much in New Hampshire here. But what I do is I carry a little GoPro around and take pictures, you know, with my GoPro and the video, you know, a long take, I guess you'd call it. I spoke about long take earlier. I do a really long take, right? That's essentially what a IRL stream is, right? It's a long take. So I do that with my little GoPro camera, make a video of it, and then play back the video on stream and talk about it, kind of like what I do here. But it's kind of a virtual IRL. But that's the only way I can do it at this point, and, because New Hampshire is 30 years behind the rest of the country. I guess that's it. So I appreciate everybody coming out, and hope you can join me on the next stream. And if you missed part of this, if you just join later, whatever you want to see the whole thing, all my VODs are put up onto YouTube. They're on Twitch for a little while. But Twitch wipes them out pretty quickly, so I put them up to YouTube. And you can look on my Twitch page, and there's a link to my YouTube VOD channel on YouTube. It's doubletribble-yt is the name of it. There's another guy who stole my name after I set up this account. He set up an account called Double Triple on YouTube after I set up this account. But anyway, the link's in there. You can find it. So I appreciate everybody coming out. Everyone take care. Bye.
All right, here we go. First thing we climb a tree, and maybe then we talk, or sit silently and listen to our thoughts, illusions of someday, cast in a golden light, no dress rehearsal, this is our life. That's where the hornet stung me, and I had a feverish dream with revenge and doubt. Tonight we smoke them out. You are ahead by a century. You are ahead by a century. You are ahead by a century. There in the morning shroud, and then the day began. I tilted your cloud, you tilted my hand. Rain falls in real time, and rain fell through the night. No dress rehearsal, this is our life. That's when the hornet stung me, and I had a serious dream with revenge and doubt. Tonight we smoke them out. You are ahead by a century. 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 And disappointing you is getting me down.
Hi, Peekaboo.
Hi, Readers Live.
Thank you for joining the stream. Yeah, that was Steven. Big Ducky Snow. That was one of his karaoke sessions, and he's allowed me to use that on my stream. So yeah, Big Ducky Snow. This image just for let you folks know, this is an image that I took of these squirrels out in my backyard in the forest, near the forest, and they ran in circles just for a second, but I went and edited it to make it look like they just kept running in circles forever, just for fun. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Thank you everyone for coming. I'll catch you later. Bye.